We're going to end this year's radio with Max Keiser, lives over in Paris, an American broadcaster, filmmaker. He's got shows on RT, Press TV, BBC, syndicated radio. MaxKeiser.com is his website. And he was, of course, before he retired, a successful stockbroker and inventor of virtual trading systems used on many stock markets today. And he joins us with some breaking news and analysis here at year end as we take the plunge and cry havoc and enter the vaunted 2012. Max Keiser, good to have you here with us.
Hey, Alex, it's great to be with you. I'm actually in Barcelona, Spain today.
I'm sorry, that's right. You told us that 5 times, and of course I got it wrong. You're in Barcelona, Spain today.
Yeah, very sunny. So Stacy and I came down here for a few days to catch some sun.
Very hard day's work for you. Now, continuing, sir, with your analysis, what do you make of what's going on in the world?
Well, a couple of trends that I wanted to bring to your attention. We've been talking about on your show for a couple of years that are now coming to fruition. One is that starting in January of next year in Chicago, there's a new exchange that's been approved called NADEX, N-A-D-E-X.
Markets, Trade, and Political Predictions. You've said this forever. Here it is from USA Today.
Yeah, so people are going to start to trade politicians that are as securities. And the reason this is important is because, of course, all securities markets are manipulated. For example, the in-trade market in Dublin has Mitt Romney with a 75% probability of winning the Republican nomination.
And that creates a fake feedback loop, obviously, and allows them to game it and pump value into it, which is basically another fraud.
Exactly right. And now this is going to become a much bigger market because this new CFTC-regulated NADEX in Chicago will be a multi-hundred-billion-dollar market. We already know that is fraud. Back in the 2008 campaign, John McCain was manipulating the in-trade contract in Dublin in his favor.
And then they'll say, we've got to have Mitt Romney or whoever be elected because hundreds of billions are invested. It's too big to fail. So now everybody's got a domino effect or snowball pile on to whoever the scammers say. That's like 10 years ago when they said they were going to trade on terror attacks. Well, of course, then they get to stage them themselves.
Well, that's another point. The terror attacks was the policy analysis market that John Poindexter at the Pentagon was trying to put in place based on my technology, the virtual specialist technology. But they had such an outcry against it that they banned it. Now, flash forward a couple of years, and Cantor Fitzgerald, who bought my technology, they tried to launch Cantor Exchange to trade box office futures. But the Motion Picture Association of America got the Congress to ban the concept of box office futures exchange because they had a lot of emails from people who were threatening to injure or to kill talent that was trading on the box office futures exchange. And so the MPAA, to defend their constituency of stars in Hollywood, got Congress.
That's right. One mafia figured out the bigger mafia was going to use this to take them over.
Right. But what's funny is that there's no such protection for American politicians. So the assassination risk is quite high. People who are short politicians will want to, do injury to them to make money on this new NADEX market. But it was considered not much of a problem as a Hollywood star being injured. So it shows you where America's values are. Gwyneth Paltrow deserves more protection than the president of the United States, clearly. Because
our own troops breathing DU, because they're the real enemy. They want them to go kill people, but then they know the troops and the actuaries are going to wake up and be a threat to the tyrants, and so they're glad that they're using DU. That's a soft kill weapon that'll get rid of them later.
Yeah, so this will put a price on all the politicians' head, and so this is what's going to start up in January. And when you get into the next election cycle, because it'll be obvious that there's massive fraud in terms of the misuse of these new securities markets brought to you by the same people who are not regulated, anything going on Wall Street.
And this is pure betting, just like who's going to win, the Redskins or the Cowboys, the 49ers or the Steelers. I mean, this is just pure gambling.
Well, gambling plus derivative markets. So you'll be able to leverage your bet. If you put on $1 million bet, you can leverage that to $10 million or $100 million.
And then they run the government so it's too big to fail, so it's gambling with our money and our future.
Yeah, and then when the next election is determined that it was completely fraudulent, they'll say we can't investigate because it'll be a systemic risk to the banking system because these Wall Street banks have hundreds of billions of dollars tied into political futures derivatives.
Yeah, the derivatives fraud paradigm is invading reality and waging war against it.
Right, and it's now in the very machinations of the voting and political system, the democratic systems of America have been securitized, financialized, and turned into derivatives. And this is all starting up in January. It's a huge multi-billion-dollar trading platform in Chicago, regulated, or I should say not regulated, by the CFTC and the CME, the same people who completely missed the MF Global scandal and all the other scandals that came before it. And this is really combining the two worst elements of American society, graft in Washington and fraud on Wall Street.
By the way, when you say miss it, most of the regulators that's now come out actually got money in the pocket from MF Global. I mean, they missed it, you know, like somebody walking up and punching you in the nose missed it. They know exactly what they're doing. It's just they're getting so bold now, Max.
Right. They are totally conflicted. Absolutely correct. They're pocketing because inside information, as we recently discovered or has been talked about, in Washington is actually legal for Congress to trade on material inside information in the stock market. Now they'll be able to trade on information about themselves. So Rick Perry could start a rumor that he's suddenly he turned homosexual and short himself on the exchange and make money on his own false rumor, and then use that proceeds to finance his election campaign. As
long as there's idiots that'll invest in it, but they don't care because they tell you you're investing in a regular pension, but really it's being leveraged and sold into derivatives. They've collectively gone insane, Max. I think this has got to implode sometime.
Well, they're finding new ways to get deeper into the daily lives of the average American who is now going to be confronted with a decision to make when they go to the polling station. Do they vote their pocketbook, as they've been speculating for the past 12 months in the derivatives political futures markets, or do they vote their conscience? And what we've discovered is that more and more people, because they're so far in debt, of course, are going to vote their pocketbook as a way to get out of debt. And this is yet another way to separate America from its identity as something relating to the Constitution.
And again, it's all done through fractional or fiat money changing. And so the system can create just all this fake garbage, but then get people tied to it so they'll sell out their own mother because their entire future is tied to the fraud. You got to admit it's a genius plan, Max.
Well, I invented it. Of course it's ingenious. It's all based on my technology, the virtual specialist technology, patent number 5950176, filed and patented in 1996. And, of course, now my other company, the Hollywood Stock Exchange, is going public for $100 million in the next few weeks. So it'll give you an idea of what the technology is worth. They're now based in Las Vegas. So they're going to start trading a whole betting scam based on a pure betting, Vegas style, on that technology, and that's going to be going forward now in the next few weeks as well. So the casino gulag model that I've been talking about for a couple of years is coming into fruition on the political front, the entertainment front, the gambling front, because Obama has let it be known that he now favors passage of bill that will allow online gambling. That's the big one as far as I can see it, because this will mean that all these people glued to their iPhones and iPads and online Farmville stimulated gaming platforms will be gambling now with real money, and this will be the only job left in America.
And they